Welcome to the Greener Gifting Gang podcast, the show that delves into the reasons we love to choose, wrap and share gifts with each other. Hi, I'm your host Eve Kale, founder of Gift Wrapped by Eve, and I'm on a mission to help you experience the joy of gift giving while also considering the planet. Each episode I'll be sharing ideas or interviewing guests who will help inspire your choice of gifts and how you present them. Whether that's for your own gifts or products you create or sell in your small business, will help you consider how to make small changes that can help your gifting be a little greener. Hello everyone and welcome to today's very special episode. Today's episode is a recording of an interview I did on Radio Bath last week on the Business Matters show with Paula Harsley. I was interviewed with my friend and fellow business owner Helen Osmond. We were both interviewed by Paula to talk about our recent win as winners of Small Business Sunday and both living in the local area. So something a bit different today. I hope you enjoy listening to our conversation with Paula. And if you are interested, you can listen to Paula's Business Matters show every single month on Radio Bath. I'll pop all of the links to the things we talk about in the show notes.
You're listening to Radio Bath and this is Business Matters, and I'm delighted to have Eve Kale and Helen Osmond with me today. They are both Small Business Sunday winners, and if you've not heard about Small Business Sunday, you will know much more about it by the end of this hour, because we're going to be talking about that, how Theo Paphitis set it up, and the events that they run to do with that. So Eve and Helen, welcome.
Hello. Hi there, thank you for having us.
You're very welcome. Now, Eve, tell us a little bit about your business very quickly.
Thank you, Paula. So my business is called Gift Wrapped by Eve, and I help people connect through planet-friendly gifting and gift wrapping. So whether that's for your own gifts or if you are a product business, I can help support you in using your products, marketing them as gifts and packaging them up sustainably.
Brilliant, love it.
Thank you.
Hi there, so I'm Helen. I am the principal, tutor and founder of Osmond Education. We take students from to not so bad in GCSE and A-level maths, and I'm also an author, which is exciting.
Congratulations, you're
Thank
now
you.
on Amazon.
I am.
And I actually have the book to actually flick through, so thank you very much for that. All right, so both of you are Small Business Sunday winners. As I said, we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. This is Paula Harsley on Radio Bath, and I'm joined by Eve Kale and Helen Osmond. I'm delighted to have them with me, and they both were new mums together some years ago now, and you sort of reconnected over virtual networking in COVID, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So we met over 10 years ago now, didn't we, Helen, when our babies were really small, and, then we lost touch, even though we actually live really close to one another. And then it was only, not even in person, on a virtual networking that we met. Yeah, lockdown time, didn't we?
One of those, I know that face across the Zoom.
Obviously, you've now got established small businesses, and you both applied for Theo Paphitis' Small Business Sunday. And whether you know the name or not, Theo Paphitis is one of the dragons on Dragon's Den, which I think nowadays he's probably most famous for that. But I actually quite like the idea that on LinkedIn he describes himself as a shopkeeper. So he's kept to his roots, but he is now the owner of brands such as the Ryman's, Robert Dias, Boo Avenue, and he's got fingers in lots of pies. But he's also supporting the small business person, and that's where you two sort of came into the picture, really, because you both pitched for the Small Business Sunday Prize. Tell us a bit more about that. Helen, do you want to start?
Yes, so on a Sunday evening, you can do it on LinkedIn or Instagram, I believe Twitter too. You just do a very short pitch on a social media post about what your business is and what you do, and then he likes 5, 6, 7, 8 or so, somewhere around that, depending on who's pitching that week, on the Monday evening, and then you get to join his networking groups. There's an event in February. I just missed it this time round. So I'm looking forward to that next time. So yeah, but it's a chance to get to know other businesses and support other small businesses.
You chose to do your pitch.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that you might see advertised. I think I'd seen it a few times and thought, oh, that's interesting, maybe I'll have a go at that one day. But I didn't actually do it until I was talking to some other business owners who had been successful, and they really encouraged me to have a go. So I thought, oh, well, why not? I'll have a go. It's an opportunity to be more visible. With a small business, if you don't, shout about it, then nobody else will. So this was a great opportunity just to have a go and to, get some recognition perhaps for what you're doing. So yeah, I couldn't believe it actually, because you can apply as many times as you want, but I actually won on my first go.
First time, lucky.
Yeah.
So at the event itself, you obviously met Theo. I've seen the photographic proof.
Yes.
You stood there with him. But there were some keynote speakers there in addition to...
Yes, so it's a really, really great event. So it was at the ICC in Birmingham. So it's a central place for people coming from all over the country. And it was a full day of speakers. There was different sessions with panels. There was a keynote speaker, Katie Piper, at the end of the day, and she was just amazing. The whole theme this year was all about resilience, and she was talking about resilience in her own life, what she'd been through.
That had acid put in her face, and yet she's come back.
Yeah, she had an amazing story. She spoke for over an hour. I've never heard a room, that focused on somebody. I think she probably could have spoken for another hour and we would have all listened. So she gave some really amazing insight into how you can be resilient when you're building a business as well. So that was one of the highlights of the day for me.
It's brilliant. I'm here with Eve and Helen, and we are talking about Small Business Sunday and the success that they both had on Theo Paphitis' concept, really, isn't it? Where small businesses all come together. You were saying that you put on LinkedIn or on social media your little pitch, and you both got through, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Eve went to the event. Was it November, December time last year?
It was February, actually. It's only just happened. Yeah.
Unfortunately, Helen, you missed the date. You've got to go next year.
I will go next year. Yes, I was the Sunday after the event was the the week I won. So poor timing maybe on that part. Delayed pleasure.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were talking about resilience there, and as small business owners, there are struggles. I run my own small business as well, and it's not always easy, is it? Had any particular sort of struggles in your business?
Yeah, so for me, my original business was working with a network marketing company. So I worked with two different companies, and I went through the period where the businesses were closing and what to do next. But I found that actually it gave me the impetus to go independent, and rather than kind of leaving things aside and thinking, oh, what shall I do now? And it gave me the impetus to do something that I've been thinking about doing. So I'm not one to I think resilience is a great one to talk about. I don't feel like I take those knocks, and there's always something to move forward with.
Yeah. And Helen, for you?
So for me, it's definitely a case of pressing through a lot of the time. I have young children, as we've referred to. We've both got still primary school, just age children, but one of my others has additional needs. So some days I don't know what my workload is going to be like. I don't know if I'm going to get a call from school to have to go in and support. So things are easing now slightly. We're getting into more routine, but being able to be supported by other business owners who kind of understand that some days it's just going to go to pot. Just some days are completely going to go to pot, and you've got to pick up and keep going.
Yes. Yeah. And I think for me, certainly, these things, are sent to try us, as they say, but, you pick up the pieces, you look around, and you do build that network of people that you get on with and you can share that with, because it is quite lonely. I think that's one of the things I found as a business owner. Do you both find that? Or?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, when I started, I didn't realise I was running a business. That took me by surprise a few years in, that's what I was actually doing, and then having to learn how to run a business as well as be the educator that I am. But finding then the other tutors, the other educators, the other business owners that are then cheering me on and supporting, and understanding when I just have a ranty, messaging session with some of them.
But it's important to, I think, use that network and friends and colleagues, and friends that are employed don't always understand the things that you go through when you're running your own business, because you've got to also think about the cash flow and whether you're making a profit, and you deal with international students as well as UK-based students, and so you're dealing with time delays and all of that sort of thing as well. Adds to the mix.
Time zones are challenging. It's coming up and it's messing with my brain. It's fine.
Were there any sort of key points that Katie mentioned at the Small Business Sunday event, Eve, that you can recall?
I think she talked a lot actually about remembering what your purpose is and why you're doing something. And I think that if you come back to that, if you're having a difficult time in business, or in life really, I think that remembering that. So I started being self-employed so that I could be flexible and be around my family. And sometimes I do have to talk to myself when I'm having a difficult time and things maybe aren't going as fast as I want them to, that actually this is the reason that I'm doing this, is so that I can be around. And so sometimes things do have to be slower than I maybe would like.
Yeah, but it's a balance, isn't it, as life is. We've been talking about a little bit about the struggles and the resilience needed to run a small business, but we were also talking about being females. We are 3 females here running businesses, and Eve, you shared a fantastic stat that was shared at the Small Business Sunday event, so go on.
Yeah, so apparently over 80% of the winners of Small Business Sunday are female, which I was just amazed by when I heard that stat. But in some ways I'm not amazed by that, because lots of the people that I meet and most of my clients and customers are female. So it's something to celebrate, isn't it? Look at all these amazing businesses being run by resilient women.
Absolutely. And, we used the phrase when we were chatting, accidental entrepreneurs. None of us sort of left school thinking, we're going to set up our own businesses. And some people do that. They, some of them have started, whilst they're at school. You hear of these people setting up businesses and this sort of thing. Or they turn their Saturday job into a fantastic business, and that's absolutely great. But a lot of women do make choices because of their children and their childcare and their family situations, and you were both saying that you did that. Helen, you were saying about having a child with additional needs, for example. That must have been quite difficult. Were you working at all when you had your child, or have you always been self-employed?
So I did my teacher training. I developed an illness and started tutoring to keep my hand in. Enjoyed it, and it worked around family life, and yes, have since then had my children. So it was a job at that point that was flexible around the hours that they needed me, and then my husband would be able to take over the childcare in the evenings, and I could go and teach for a little bit. And now they're at school, it's a lot more freedom.
And you were saying that you've now got 4 additional tutors because the need is great.
The need is indeed great, yes.
That's good. So you're expanding your business, and one of the things that we wanted to talk about was whether or not small businesses need to aim to be big. So are you looking to take on further tutors, do you think?
Yes, probably, but not necessarily to be big. I'd like to take on more tutors so that I can reach more students.
Yes. Yeah.
Because maths doesn't have to be that scary. In that sense, yes, I'd like to get bigger, but not so big that it's not got my personal touch on it.
Yeah, and that's the scary bit, isn't it?
Yeah, finding that.
Yeah, I think personal touch and personal service is something that's so important, and that's why lots of small businesses really flourish. And I think I love knowing, my clients really, really well, and being able to understand their businesses. So I don't think I've got dreams about being, really big. I think I'm at the point now where, as many small businesses are, where I'm doing everything myself. So I do need to grow in terms of outsourcing things, and that's probably my next step in terms of growth, I would say.
Yes, yeah. So outsourcing, if anyone doesn't know, is, for an example, you could outsource your finances. We were talking about working out your cash flow and your profits, and totting up all your invoices and things. If you're paying people, you can outsource that. You have to make the money to do it, but the actual physicality of paying them. A lot of virtual assistants nowadays are in existence, because you don't necessarily need to employ a secretary or administrator. But
I have one that does a lot of my social media for me, because it's time consuming and I need to be doing the teaching.
Yeah. That's something that I help clients with as well, and it's useful to have that extra set of hands, but not an employee, isn't it? So, This is Paula Harsley, and you've been listening to Business Matters for the last hour, and I've been delighted to have Eve Kale and Helen Osmond with me. And I wanted to mention the wonderful runners about the Bath Half this past weekend, and as I was mentioning that, Eve said that she'd run it.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Eve.
Thank you.
Are you running it for charity, or I know you were a runner anyway?
Yeah, no, I wasn't running for charity this time, actually. I was just running for myself. And I think actually it's quite important sometimes to have goals, especially like when you're running a business, you're thinking about goals and targets and things all the time. This is like just a goal for myself, and I'm not a fast runner, but I've really enjoyed doing it. Bath Half, so it was a great atmosphere.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
People in Bath. Yeah, it was a fantastic event. So, congratulations, Eve.
Thank you.
And Helen and I were talking that we're more sort of a little bit more relaxed with our exercising.
Sedate.
Yeah, well, Pilates is not necessarily sedate. You do Pilates. So.
I do. Yeah, there's definitely some moments there where I might not like the instructor very much.
Yes, I did go to Pilates with my daughter once, and yes, it was a little bit sore afterwards. But I tend to do yoga, but that can also be a little bit sore sometimes. It depends on what you do, because at the time it's feeling great, and it's the following day or two that, ouch, that hurts, but in a good way, I think. So we've spent the morning together talking about Small Business Sunday, and congratulations again, ladies, for winning your pitches and getting chosen to go to the event. And there's some, what did you call them, boot camps that happen throughout the year?
Yeah, there are opportunities throughout the year to meet up with other winners and continue their learning and get support from the community. It's a really good initiative. It's not just about the event,
just a one-off. It's the gift that keeps on giving, so that's lovely. While we're talking about things that people can do, if you do have a young person that is thinking about or coming up to doing their GCSE maths in particular, Helen's book, How to Revise for GCSE Maths Without All the Panic, by Helen Osmond, is available on Amazon, and it's only $6.99, but it's as much a sort of revision guide as it is. It's not teaching you how to pass maths specifically, is it?
No, a lot of it is about how the brain learns and how to then do revision efficiently. There are plenty of revision guides out there that will cover the maths content or other subjects as well. Thank you. But a lot of how the brain works and how to revise, and glitter gets a mention. More accurately, don't use too much glitter.
Your revision plans, sometimes you spend more time making them look pretty than you do actually thinking about the content. But no, definitely recommend that book. It's also available on Kindle for $1.99 as well, and the A-level one is coming soon.
Yes, as soon as I finished it.
Really good, looking forward to that one. And if you're interested in learning more about Eve's business, Gift Wrap with Eve, then she runs a podcast, The Greener Gifting Gang, where she speaks to guests, and it's all about how you can make gifts look pretty, but also specifically for marketing for companies that want to sort of use the wrapping for products. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Well, we talk about the reasons we love to share and wrap gifts with each other, and my guests come and talk to me about how they choose gifts, how their gift memories. We talk about sustainability on there as well, and it's just a bit of light entertainment, really.
Yeah, it's brilliant, and that's available on all your usual podcast platforms. And just finally from me, the next Business Matters will be on the 21st of April. Look forward to joining you all then, and thank you very much for listening, and take care.
Thank you for listening to the Greener Gifting Gang podcast. For free resources, head to giftwrappedbyeve.com/freebies and follow Eve on socials at giftwrappedbyeve on Instagram and Facebook.